Okay. So first of all, thanks to everybody for joining us tonight. It's nice to meet you via webinar. This is me. My name is Tracy Panase, and I have been organizing the JBF Oaks and in Reading for the past 5 years. I can't believe it's been that long, but we're actually going into our 6th year in Reading, and this is our 5-year anniversary this fall in Oaks. And the sales take place twice a year in the 2 locations. There's JBF sales all over the country, but I'm only crazy enough to do 4 of them a year. But it is a full-time labor of love. Once we finish the fall sales, we dive right into the spring sales. It's something that is worked on continuously. And our sales have grown quite a bit over the years and have received lots of different national and local awards. And I share that with you not for you to be, hooray for Tracy, but because I really appreciate and respect the fact that this takes time on your part. And so I just want you to know that while you're spending lots of time over Labor Day weekend or whenever it is that you have time, we're also putting in equal amounts of time to market and to do everything to have a very well-organized event. So thank you very much for your contribution to that, and I think that you'll be happy with the results because our average consignor makes between $300 and $400. Some of them make a lot more than that. Some of them make less. It just really depends on the number of items and the types of items that you have. So basically, this presentation is going to be split into 2 halves. And initially, I just want to kind of share with you where to find things on our website so that if at the conclusion of this call you forget everything that I said, which is fine, you'll at least know where to go to look for it. And then the second half of this is where we're going to spend the bulk of our time, and I'm going to actually talk about the supplies that you need for the sale, how to gather up all your items, and then we'll go into the tagging site. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to use this chat feature or to simply unmute yourselves and interrupt me. This is designed for you. So chances are if you have a question, somebody else probably has the same question. So this is what our website looks like. I'm guessing because you're on this call, most of you have either visited the Western Main Line site, which is our sale in Oaks, or the Reading site, which looks exactly like this, just different city location up at the top. Throughout this call, I'm going to refer to a lot your profile, and the profile is this area up in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, and it's in your profile where you actually access the tagging account, and that's where you're going to create your tags for the sale. It's where you can sign up to help at the sale, and then for the sale in the spring, when you guys are total pros and you know what you're doing, that's where you'll register, because each sale you have to register. So things really all start on the website. You can either enter the website by going to jbfsale.com and searching for our locations, or you can go in kind of the back door, which is, and then the sale, the city, and then jbfsale.com. Everybody on our system is assigned what's called a universal consignor number, and basically all that means is that it's a mix of alphanumeric characters, and it can be used at any JBF sale in the country. Your consignor number never changes. So that means that anything that you tag in Reading, you can also have those tags be scanned in Oaks without having to re-enter anything. Likewise, if there are things that you pick up at the end of the sale that didn't sell, you can bring those back again in the spring, and you do not need to re-enter that information. This is what your login looks like. So up in that upper right-hand corner, when you go to log in, it is tied to your email address. So it's important to remember, if you have multiple email addresses like I do, which one is linked to your JBF account, and then a password that you set. If you forget your password, you can be prompted. If for some reason you don't get your password back right away, which happens seems to happen a little bit frequently. It's not that I'm ignoring you, it's the system is ignoring you. So please feel free to email or text me or call me, and I can get you that information within a matter of seconds. When you log in, your dashboard looks like this. And basically, these are all the events within a 50-mile radius of my home that I have not signed up for. They're on the right-hand side. And then the 2 events that I have signed up for are the events we're talking about tonight, Reading and Western Main Line. And then if I had registered to help at the sale, my shifts would appear down here. So it's everything kind of centrally located right there. You can use this dialog box right here to email me directly. If you don't remember my email address, this will come directly to me. And so then you'll also have kind of a running log of our conversation. Up here at the top is where you're going to enter your tags, and we're going to get to that shortly, but I just want to point it out to you now. And then any other sort of changes to your participation you would also make here. So let's just pretend this is just a screenshot, so we're just kind of going through the motions here. I clicked on this button, on one of the green buttons here, one of the modify buttons. It would take me to a screen that looks like this. So I'm looking at all the ways that I've signed up to participate in the sale. If you have signed up to consign and now you decide that you would like to help at the sale, helping at the sale is completely optional. Nobody's required to volunteer at the sale. If you do, you can make an extra 10% on your sold items. So it's a good option if you want to earn more. Our consigners make 60% of the price that they tag their items for. So you select your prices, you make 60% of that. If you work 1 4-hour shift, then that 60% automatically goes to 70%. And then everybody is charged a flat $10 consignor fee. You don't pay anything up front. You know, there's no money that's exchanged between you and I. That $10 comes directly out of your check. So if you would click on this button that says team member, it would take you to a screen that looks like this. And basically, this is all the available shifts that are out there for the Western Main Line sale. The Reading looks exactly the same, but starting with setup, which for the Western Main Line sale is on a Monday. For Reading, it's on a Sunday. But just by scrolling down, you can see all the different things that are out there. So it's very self-explanatory. I'm not going to spend really much time at all talking about it, but the one thing I did want to explain is if you've never helped at the sale before, you can hover over this, let's say, oh, this sounds good, you know, 12 to 4 on a Monday. It gives you a description of what it is that you would be doing at the sale, and it tells you how many credits you earn. So this is a 4-hour shift. I'm going to earn 4 credits. So I get a 4-hour, I enter with the 4-hour team members for the pre-sale. This shift on the left is also a 4-hour shift. It's from 8 to 12, but it earns 8 credits. So I would enter with the 8-hour volunteers. So that means I get in an hour earlier than the 4-hour volunteers. So there's less crowds, it's a better selection. And the reason for that is because this shift from 8 to 12 is really labor intensive. It's when we're unloading our trailers, we're, you know, basically schlepping a lot of stuff. And so to incentivize people to help during that shift, it's worth more credits. Same amount of time, it's just more sweat. So that's why you'll see different hours. We do also have some 2-hour shifts on here, and it takes 2 2-hour shifts to earn the extra 10%. If you just do 1 2-hour shift, then you would just be earning the pre-sale tax to come in with the 2-hour volunteers. So any 4-hour shift or any combination of 2-hour shifts will earn you that extra 10%. Okay, so this is where we're going to spend the bulk of our time. We're going to talk about how to prep, price, and drop off your items. Most of the things that I'm going to talk about can be found on the sell page of our website, and this is a screenshot of the sale page, and I found that by going across the top, any one of these pages, just by clicking on them, it'll take you to another page. Our website is not terribly user-friendly from that perspective because there's a lot of information on here, but sometimes it's hard to find. For example, any of these purple links, if I would click on that, it would take me to another page and lots more information. So kind of spend some time looking over the cell page if you have lingering questions. Hopefully you're not going to have any questions by the time we're done here tonight, but that is a good resource, and many of the things that we're going to talk about can be found there. This is just kind of scrolling down a little bit on the cell page where it says more info. There's lots of additional documents that you can download. Most of them are PDFs. And then this purple link right here is a link to another page, which is particularly important. That's the drop-off and pickup page. So you can refer to that as well. Okay, so we're going to talk about, for the rest of our time, the next 45 minutes, I'm going to walk you through from the very beginning, from the supplies that you need, and then we're going to end up at drop-off. So it's going to seem a little bit like I'm going out of order because I'm going to talk about placing tags on items before we actually create the tags. So just bear with me. If you're wondering where these tags come from or how they're created, I promise you we're going to get to that point. It just doesn't make sense to do that first before going through these steps. So these are kind of, from my experience and consigning myself, my top 10 tips. The first thing that you want to do, because when you're motivated to tag, and for those of you who are preparing for the Reading sale, it's coming quickly. Our drop-off is next Tuesday. So you want to make sure you have your supplies. And the basic supplies that are needed for the sale are, it's white cardstock, so it's a 65-pound paper that you can purchase at AC Moore, Office Depot, Target, Walmart. It's just a heavier grade of paper. And the key is it does need to be white because colored cardstock will interfere with the barcode. Children's hangers for smaller size. Usually we say kids hangers for size 5 and under, and then you can use adult sizes for size like 5, 6, and up. We do accept both wire or plastic hangers. Whatever you can get your hands on is perfectly fine. Then it's a good thing to have safety pins, clear tape, hole punch, scissors, and when I show you some specific examples, you'll see how each of these things are used. Lots of clear Ziploc bags, anything to help your clothing smell good and look good. Wrinkled clothing, even if it's clean, it doesn't sell as well because people are like, oh, that was, crumbled up into a ball, so you want to try to make it look good. And if you don't want to iron, wrinkle release is a good tool. Zip ties, or they're often called cable ties, ribbon or string. And then a couple of optional things, a tagging gun. It's not required, but it can save you a lot of time. A paper cutter, so if there's any teachers on the line, that can also save you some time instead of scissors. And those are really just the basic items before you go to step 2, which is gathering up your items. You want to look at your clothing and make sure it's JBF appropriate. And what I mean by that is that we try as hard as we possibly can, given the volume of items that we have, to go through and weed out anything that has rips, tears, missing buttons, stains, anything that doesn't smell good. We don't want things to smell like smoke. So our expectation is that you're doing that at home as well. So really kind of weeding through your items to make sure it's the best quality, and then sorting your items by size. So what I mean by that is that, I've cleaned out my kids' closet and I've gone through them. These are, my very best resale items, and I have a whole pile of size 10 girl and I have a whole pile of size 5 boy. It will save you time, and I'll show you exactly how it's going to save you time in a moment. If you just separate your piles by size and by gender, and then hang your items. There are some clothing items that do not have to be hung. You can put up to 5 onesies in a Ziploc bag. You can also you can also put under 24 months sleepers or pajamas into a Ziploc bag. But anything else, if it's a clothing item, does need to come to the sale on a hanger. So what's the deal with hangers? Clothing is sold on the hanger. If you guys have ever shopped at the JBF sale, you know that it's busy. We can get long lines. We don't have time to remove the hangers from the clothing. We also don't have time to bag every piece of clothing. So any of your items that are sold, and hopefully all of them will sell, are going to be sold on the hanger. Any of your items that do not sell that you want to get back are going to be returned to you on the hanger. So you get the hanger back if your item doesn't sell. As I mentioned, onesies can go into a Ziploc bag as long as they're all the same size. And hangers should be the appropriate size for clothing items. So you don't want to put an infant item onto an adult hanger, and likewise you don't want to put a junior girl top onto a little infant hanger. We'll talk about sets. Sets do sell, and you can tape your hangers together to create a set. And then in addition to gathering your clothing items, don't forget about things that you might have in your basement or garage, a toy closet or something, and make sure that all of those items are also in good condition. So if it's a 100-piece puzzle, you want to have 100 pieces, not 99 pieces. Anything that does require working batteries has to have batteries. They don't have to be really good Duracell batteries, but you can get some at a dollar store, just enough that the customer can test the item before they leave. So some of the things that you can and cannot bring to the sale. Even though it was 97 degrees outside today, and of course it finally got warm at the end of August, this is a fall-winter sale. So we're looking for seasonal clothing that's appropriate for what your child would wear between September and April or March. Our Oak sale in the spring is going to be in March. The Reading sale will be in April. So in the fall-winter period, so heavier fabric weights, as well as the same thing applies to shoes. So shoes that your child would wear in the winter months. So snow boots, as well as rain boots are also okay, but no open-toed sandals. And I'll give you a more comprehensive list in just a moment. We have no limits on what you can bring as long as it's seasonally appropriate, except for junior girls. So that would be sizes 0, 1, 3, and 5. We only allow a maximum of 10 items per consignor because junior girls are picky, and we don't have fitting rooms, and we don't allow exchanges. So in order to have the best quality items, we encourage our consignors to bring their 10 best, and there are certain brands that we accept for junior girls, which are posted on the sell page of the website. We also have the same restriction for maternity for the same reason we have it for juniors, because expectant mommies are also quite picky. And so it's a maximum of 10 hanging items for maternity. That doesn't include things like nursing bras or other non-hanging maternity items. It's just the rack space. We limit that to 10 items. We also have a list on the sell page of the website of specific maternity brands that we accept. We don't accept all maternity, and plus size women's wear is not considered maternity. With your shoes, it'd be super duper picky, and we'll talk more about that in a moment. And then any sort of infant necessities, and I'm not going to read through the list. If you've shopped the sale, you've kind of seen all of these items, but these items are really easy to tag, and they're going to earn you the most amount of money. So I always encourage new consignors, try to include at least a few bigger items in the sale, because that will really increase your earning. The clothing will always sell, but the bigger items will sell much more quickly, and you'll often get full price for those, whereas some of your clothing items are going to should you choose to reduce them for half price day, you're going to sell more of the clothing at half price. Any sort of room decor, the only restriction for room decor is we do not accept foam-filled bedding. So anything with a polyfill, like a bumper pad, a comforter, or a sleeping bag, because anything with a polyfill, we do have to spray when you come to inspection. So if you're bringing a boppy or an extra saucer, a high chair that has a padded seat cushion, the state of Pennsylvania requires us to spray those items for bed bugs. So we have to sanitize them, which we do, and I'll explain how that happens when we talk about drop-off. But we just don't have time to do the same thing for all of the bedding pieces. And honestly, when we sold it, it didn't really sell that well. So we've eliminated those items from the sale. And then, of course, toys, books, games, DVDs, puzzles. We don't accept VHS tapes, but we do accept DVDs, arts and crafts. And then even though we're going into the winter, we do still accept ride-on toys, bikes, and outdoor play equipment at the fall sale. And then sporting equipment, bikes, wagons, all of that stuff. So basically think of everything from clothing and entertaining your child from size 0 to 18 for boys and juniors for girls. These are our guidelines, which give more specific examples. The one thing I did just change yesterday, in fact, was we're going to accept up to size 5 for children's shoes. We tried to, put a size range on there because at the fall sale there were a lot of inappropriate shoes that were being brought to the sale, like 3-inch heels and things like that, which were a really small size, but not something that you'd want your child to be wearing on the playground. So this list is on the sell page of our website. If you're consigning in Reading, it was also in an email blast that I sent out earlier today. So you can reference this just as a quick reference guide. And if you do have specific questions, my email address is on there. You can always ask me, text me a picture of it. I'm happy to answer specific questions for you. Okay, my mouse stopped working. Okay, so you've got your supplies, you kind of know what you're going to bring, and now let's talk about how to prep your items. And again, I'm going to get to how we tag them as our next step, so just bear with me as we talk about how you actually are going to package or present them at the sale. There's a right way and a wrong way to hang your items. The hanger should always form a question mark facing the left. So if you've got your piece of clothing laying in front of you on a table, the opening of the hanger faces the left. And then when you're looking at your item, the tag is going to be on the right. So this is an actual clothing rack at one of our sales, and you can see all the hangers are going in the same direction, and all of the tags are also in the same direction. So the customer can very easily shop the racks. And especially in the fall, those racks are going to be really, really tight at the beginning. So the ability to see what the price is without having to dig from right to left is really important. There are two ways that you can put your tags onto your clothing items. You can either do it with a safety pin, which is the example on the left-hand side, or you can use a tagging gun. They're both perfectly acceptable, and they both can cause damage if you don't use discretion and good common sense. For a tagging gun, you want to look for the thickest part of your clothing, like up here in the nape of the neck is where it's got a little bit of reinforcement. Using a safety pin on this hoodie is okay because I'm probably not going to leave big gaping pin marks on the garment. Some other places, if you are using a tagging gun, you can go into the sleeve area in the armpit where there's some extra fabric, and if it did leave a little mark, you're not going to see it. The very best place is in the actual size tag in the clothing. So it's not, technically it's not on the right, but it's not that far off. So somewhere from the middle to the right is good. And then here's that other example again. As I mentioned before, sets really do sell well at our sale. This is a set for a spring item, but if you have a shirt, this is a Justice shirt and a matching Justice pair of shorts, as long as they're the same size and the same brand, you can sell them as a set. You would only have one tag, and when we talk about creating your tags, I'll tell you how you can make the description reflective of that, but you can put them together by taping the hangers together. You could use zip ties or string. You could also, I've seen a lot of times sets like Gymboree where maybe you bought every single matching hair bow to a particular shirt. You could put the hair accessories in a Ziploc bag and then secure that to the hanger. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So that you would be forming a set. We're often asked, sometimes it's hard to find those pant hangers like the ones in this bottom right-hand corner. You can hang your shorts, skirts, pants on a wire hanger. The only thing that we require is that the hanger, the safety pin is off that top bar, because if you would pin it across the bottom bar, your clothing's going to bunch up, and so it doesn't look nice, and it consequently doesn't sell as well because it looks like it's all like sliding from side to side, because it is. So just hang it from that top bar, or as I said, you can use these type of the plastic clip-ons or the metal clip-ons for your pants and your skirts. We talked in the beginning about bagged accessories. As I said, you can put up to 5 onesies in a Ziploc bag as long as they're the same size and the same gender. This is the same set of onesies, and this consignor did a really good job, and that's why I'm using it as an example. So there were in the set some embellishments on the onesies, so you could see it. This is the back of the bag, and this is the front of the bag. So with anything that's placed in a bag that you are going to then tag, you would want to put the item in the bag and then tape the bag shut. So there's some tape here, and then tape the tag to the outside of the bag so that we can scan it, because if it's inside the bag, the plastic will interfere with the tag. And then tape the bag shut, because customers, if they open the bag and pull your items out and then the items don't get placed back into the bag, if we don't have a tag, we don't know who it belongs to, and therefore we can't sell the item. So our goal is obviously to sell your items. So the more that you can do to keep the tag with the item, the better off everybody is. This is an example of a hat, and you could put accessories like a hat in a Ziploc bag, or you can just use a tagging gun to secure the tag, or you could safety pin it. We prefer to merchandise accessories like hats, mittens, belts, ties on the ends of the clothing racks, because people like to be able to see them. And so we put these grids up on the end of the racks, and there'll be clothespins there that you can just clip your items to the end of the rack. And as soon as we started doing that about a year ago, and we really increased how many accessories we were selling, because people weren't having to dig through bins. They were right there on the bottoms, on the ends of the rack. And if you get to drop off and those grids are full, don't worry, you put your items on the table, and then we constantly replenish those grids so that we're always putting new stuff out on the ends of the grids. As I said at the beginning, shoes really do need to be in excellent condition, or they will not sell, or we're unable to accept them. For this sale, this is the first time we've ever done this, but there will be two separate inspections. Your clothing will be inspected, so all of your hanging clothing items. We don't inspect any of the clothing that are in the Ziploc bags. That's why we only take a little bit of stuff in Ziploc bags. But the clothing will go to one set of inspectors, and the shoes are going to go to a different set of inspectors, because we want to make sure that we're not missing any shoes that are really not of JBF quality. So we're looking for shoes that don't have any scuffs, don't have any gum stuck at the bottom of them, as well as are seasonally appropriate. So these shoes on the left would not be accepted at the fall sale. They will be accepted at the spring sale. And if let's just say you forgot everything that we just talked about and you brought these cute little pair of sandals to the fall sale, you can take them home. You don't need to remove that tag. You don't need to retag them. You can bring them back to the spring sale if you still have them and you wish to sell them. So anything that's rejected, as long as it's not for quality reasons, if it's just for the season, you can bring it back for the appropriate season. The best way to merchandise your shoes is to use string, ribbon, or zip ties. And you can see in this example on the right-hand side, this is just a blue zip tie. And so I just punched a hole through it and then took the right shoe and the left shoe, the shoelaces, and used the zip tie to keep them together. Zip ties are practically indestructible. They're the very best way to put your shoes together. There are some shoes that you can put in a Ziploc bag. It's kind of like the smaller infant onesies. So crib shoes, any shoe that you don't think the mom would be wanting to try on her child, so they're like pre-walking shoes, are okay to go in the Ziploc bag. Otherwise, they should be merchandised like this. And then here's some examples of merchandising with toys. And there's a whole lot more detail about how to tag toys with multiple pieces on the sell page of our website. There's even a video that goes into specific instructions. But I'm just bringing this one to your attention because I'm showing that here's a toy, and then there's a bag with accessories that's secured using a zip tie, and then one tag which has the barcode. It's one of two, and then this bag with the accessories is two of two that has the consignor number, the item number, which is this number right above the barcode, and then the price. And the reason why this is a good example is because if this bag of accessories would get detached from the Little Tikes toy, then we would be able to match them up. We would just match up the item numbers, and then therefore we could sell the set together. Just some more examples of things that could be placed in Ziploc bags, like Hot Wheels, hair accessories. Just make sure you always tape the bag shut. For books, the best thing to do for books is to use either the blue painter's tape, because that doesn't leave any marks or residue on the book, or Scotch tape. It's not a good idea to use packing tape on a book because it could cause damage. And the tags for books should go on the outside and on the back cover. Okay, so that's kind of a couple of the most commonly brought items to the sale and how you would merchandise them. We're going to actually go into my tagging account, so I'm going to leave our PowerPoint for just a minute and show you this live, because I think it will be helpful to do it this way. Sorry, and that's my son. Okay. All right, so we're going to log in, and the system should remember you. Okay, so now I've got all my stuff together. I'm ready to enter my tags. You are going to click on here where it says Enter My Tags. And this is what your screen is going to look like. on the left-hand side, these are all of the things that you can do in your tagging account. You can view your tags, you can create tags, print tags. During the sale, you can run a sold report so you know how much you sold each and every day, which is really fun and exciting. You can set your profile. So this is my profile, and if I would click reduce, then automatically everything that I am tagging, the default would go to reduce. You can change that at any time. So if there's some things you wish to reduce and other things that you don't, you can uncheck that box and then donate. So let's just, for this example, we'll change my defaults to reduce and donate. These are the 1,200 tags that I've entered. And then finally on this side is a recall. So you can check to see if your items, if you want to check the recall list. Let's say you're consigning a car seat and you want to make sure it's not one of the 300,000 Graco car seats that were recalled. You can check it right here. And then help. So if you have questions, it's there. So we're going to enter our tags. And you have two options when you enter your tags. You can do basic entry, and what that means is I have random things. I have like 2 boy items, 2 girl items, and 6 books. In that case, I would probably want to do basic entry. Or the rapid entry means that you have, let's say you have 20 items and they're all size 2T boy. You can save yourself time if you select rapid entry. And I'm just going to use that as an example so you can see what I mean. So if I click that, it gives me a little bit of explanation as to what it means for the rapid entry. This tells me some information about the Reading sale. If I click on here, information about the Oak sale. And then you'll come down here to various drop downs. So you can select your season, and so this is fall winter, and then select a category. So remember, we're in rapid entry, and I have, just imagine I have a stack of boys clothing here, and then automatically all 10 entries on this page populated to boys clothing. So if I would be in basic entry, I would have to select the category each and every line. But now, because I have at least 10 things that are all the same, I can do rapid entry. And all my boys' clothing is 6 months. And we're not going to actually enter 10 tags, but let's say I had 9 items that are all boys 6 months, and then somehow a little girl item popped in there. You can change it. Any one of these you can change manually. It just obviously saves you some keystrokes if they're all pretty much the same. So you've got the category, and there's a whole bunch of different things for your categories. Your sizes, or you're going to select here, and some things don't have sizes. There's maternity, etc. And then the 2 most important things that you enter is the item description, because if that tag would become lost, the only way that we can match it with the clothing item is with a good description. So it's a good idea to always lead with the brand. So I'm going to say it's a Gymboree blue shirt with animal, I can't type, print. So it doesn't have to be a really long description, but you should always include at least the brand and a color, and then the size. So if I find a tag that says laying on the floor, which we find hundreds of them, I can then look for a clothing item that fits this description and this size. The next field is your price. So let's say this is going to be $4. I hit tab, and then remember I changed my defaults to reduce and donate, but I changed my mind. I don't really want to reduce this item, but I still do want to donate. So you can adjust these just by clicking and unclicking. You can also enter a quantity. So perhaps Gymboree had a huge sale, and somehow ended up with 2 Gymboree blue shirts with animal print. So as long as it's the exact same item, you can change your quantity, and when you go to print your tags, it's going to have 2 entries for you, so you can print them. And then you just go on to your next item. But as I said, you can change this so that then automatically changed everything going down. Does that make sense? You guys all with me? So if I do not check the donate button, then that means that at the conclusion of the sale, your items will be sorted and they'll be available for you for pickup. If the donate button is checked, then it will say donate on your tag, and so your items will automatically be pulled for donation. In Reading, we donate to the Children's Home of Reading, and in Oaks, we donate to Cradles to Crayons. And in your reports up here, you would be able to print a report of your donated items, and it'll give you a dollar amount of what was donated to charity. You'll also get a letter with your check to verify that we did, in fact, donate your items. So you can you can enter up to 10 tags per page, and it's important that this little note down here, the session will time out if left inactive. So if you're multitasking, like I think 100% of moms are all the time, make sure that you save your entries often so that when you go back, and you can go back anytime and you can print your tags. So this is the tag that I just entered. Remember, I had a quantity of 2, so here's 2 that I'm going to print. Everything, the system is color-coded. These are all Melissa and Doug toys that I was tagging. They're in blue. So if you look at the legend down here, in case you forget what you were doing, anything in blue, I've already printed those tags. Anything in black is a new item, and so I could click here, because now I want to print the tags, and I would go up here to print tags. You have 2 options. You can either print 4 to a page, or you can print 6 to a page. So ideally, I would have 6 items, but I don't have 2. So if you do the PDF version, you need to have an updated version of Adobe on your computer, and it gives you an example of this is what it should look like. You want to print your tags, landscape. They don't have to be in color. And then here's what it's going to look like. So I only have 2. You would, to save paper, I suggest you print 6 at a time, and it will fill your entire page. If for some reason, this just actually did happen to me the other day, I had 6 to a page, but it was only taking up like a third of the page, so I was going to be printing out these little teeny tags. My printer settings weren't set right, so I was only, instead of my page being set to 100%, it was set to like 33%. So just make sure that you're set to 100% so that the tags fill up the whole page, and then you would just print tags, cut them out, and attach. So this is showing me that this item I chose to donate. There's no star on the tag, so if it's still available on the 50% off day of the sale, then it would be discounted. If you change your mind and you decide to draw a star on here, it doesn't matter because the discount is reflected in the barcode. So there should be no handwriting on here. If you want to edit your tag to go back, I'm going to go back into my account. And if I want to change any of my options, if I want to edit the price, I would just hit edit, and then I can change the price to $2, whatever it is I want to do. I can click or unclick, reduce or donate. The only thing you would have to do is just reprint your tags. So a couple notes on the tagging system. The system is best viewed in either Firefox, which is this browser, or Internet Explorer. Google Chrome is not really good with our system. Most of the problems we encounter are with Chrome. It's also not good with Safari. And unfortunately, it's not compatible with tablets. So you'd have to be working on either a desktop or a laptop, and preferably in one of those two browsers, Internet Explorer or in Chrome. I'm sorry, not in Chrome, Internet Explorer or in Firefox. And that's pretty much how the tagging system works. If you have specific ones once you get in there, then by all means let me know. And there's also a video on here, which I think was on that Enter My Tags page, which walks you through. When I go back here into Create Tags, right here, how to enter tag is another quick video. There's no sound, so you kind of have to follow along, but since we've kind of gone through it together, it'll probably be helpful. Okay, so we're going to skip down to, because we just went through all of that, and we're going to talk about price. In the tagging system, you can only set your price in 50-cent increments. So $5, $5.50, $6, there's no 25 cents or 99 cents. Pricing is really important at a sale like ours. People specifically come to JBF and they want a bargain. And I specifically market the fact that they're going to find a bargain. So, try to price your items to sell. And I'm not suggesting that you give away your stuff, but keeping that in mind that people are looking for a bargain. On the sell page of our website, there are pricing guidelines, and I'll go through a couple of my best suggestions for that in just a moment. It's also a good idea if you have a larger item like stroller or some non-clothing items that you're really unsure how to price, to consult other sources like eBay, Craigslist, any sort of online yard sales that you might be a subscriber to. That can be a good resource as well. And then we do strongly encourage you to reduce your items for 50% off day. You've already had 3 full days to sell your items at full price, and in Oaks it's actually 4 full days because we've added Sunday. So anything that's left on Saturday or Sunday, you're going to have a much better chance of increasing your earnings by allowing those to be discounted for 50% off day. These are just some suggestions. I, over the summer, asked one of our very best consigners to put together her thoughts because she's consigned with me for 5 years and she always makes a pretty good check with her sales. And, her suggestions were really, price your items to sell and looking at the items as what would you pay for it at a consignment sale, not at Nordstrom's or, even like Gap or ordering things online from Bowden, but what would you pay at a consignment sale, recognizing that your item is competing with over 100,000 other items. Her suggestion was also to sell in sets whenever possible because you increase your value and you can charge a little bit more by selling in sets. And then this is often a common mistake for a first-time consignor. When you're planning to donate your item, allow the item to go half price. I know that might sound a little bit funny, but we see this all the time. I had someone drop off a stroller at the spring sale. It was like a $300 stroller that they had full price and donate. And so my question to this person was, wouldn't you rather get $150 for the stroller than get nothing at all? And they're like, oh no, I didn't even realize that. So just kind of be mindful of your tags and making sure that if you really don't want it back, at least allow it to go half price, because you're still adding a lot of value to someone. Even though you're not donating to charity, that person might not have been able to have afforded it otherwise. And so there's a lot of joy and, adding some blessings to others in our community as well. We kind of broke things down into 3 buckets, looking at bargain brands, things that typically go on sale, like Carter's, Circo Granimals, or Kohl's. So Target, Walmart, Kohl's brands. Some basic brands, which are a little bit pricier and then better brands, and trying to think about things in those categories. I wouldn't, like, I don't, when I price my items, I'm pretty fast. It's like $3, $4, have kind of a strategy. And again, another common thing that I hear from first-time consigners is, oh, I priced it too cheap. If you feel that way, chances are you're probably going to do really, really well, because if you're looking at someone else's item, it's probably, and you're thinking mine's too cheap, theirs is probably too expensive. So keep that in mind. We do bring huge crowds into Body Zone, into the Expo Center, so people are there to buy your stuff. So try to price your items as competitively as possible. Okay, so now we're gonna follow up and end this, at least the formal part of this presentation, with drop-off. When you come to drop-off, it can help you save a lot of time if you have your items organized by size and by gender. Just as we tag them, if you keep them that way after you're done tagging them by rubber banding all of the sizes together, so rubber band all your 3T together, all your 4T together, so that it will save you steps, so you're not going from the girls' clothing rack to the boys' clothing rack to the maternity rack. It's all neatly organized. And we're going to give you a rolling rack that you can take out to your car and you can wheel all your items into the building with. Costumes will be, actually, we're not even going to put costumes on a rounder this time. I had my husband build a rack. That was his summer project, because we have so many costumes, but they will be on in a separate area from the clothing. And then try to keep all of your other items together. So keep all your shoes together, all your books and your toys together, because that will save you steps. Drop off, the way the process works is you will come into the building and you're going to check in, and there is not an appointment needed unless you have over 300 items. When you come into the building, you'll want to bring a completed consignor waiver, a car seat waiver if you're planning to sell a car seat or a base. Just one item. It could be a book, it could be a piece of clothing. You don't need to bring your entire carload full of stuff into the building. So just one item that can be scanned, and then a stamp. And we place the stamp on an envelope that we'll mail your check to your home with. And your check will be mailed to you within 2 weeks. You will get your pre-sale passes. As a consignor, you get passes to shop early for both the regular pre-sale and the 50% off pre-sale. And then we will give you a rolling rack. And you're going to be going through the clothing and shoe inspection. So they're going to be looking for all the things that we've already talked about to make sure it's seasonally appropriate and of good quality. Only clothing and shoes are inspected. We do not inspect toys. I have a recall specialist who goes through all of the toys, all the car seats, all that stuff, and that's happening all day long. And so we pull those items from the floor, and they'll be, if any of your items are pulled for recall, they'll be available for you at pickup, but they're not actually inspected while you're waiting there. And then once you go through inspection, you can place your items out onto the floor. You are welcome to make multiple trips to drop off, and you can enter your tags up until 7 o'clock on Tuesday night. I say that kind of tongue-in-cheek because at 7 o'clock we do close drop-off, so unless you live next door to the Expo Center or to Body Zone, your tags really should be entered probably by like 6 o'clock. But you can drop some things off on Monday and then drop some things off on Tuesday, and you can continue to do that because we don't actually upload the inventory until 7 o'clock on Tuesday night. You can bring a helper with you. You can also bring your children with you. Drop-off generally takes about an hour. It can take longer if you have a lot of items and perhaps you're not as organized as you would like. So there could be a lot of walking back and forth from rack to rack. Or it's hard for us to anticipate when everybody's going to come. I can tell you that my experience is that we get a huge rush of people at 8 o'clock in the morning when we open the doors, and then we get a huge rush of people at 6:30 at night. So in the middle of the day is generally a good time to drop off. Our drop-off times, it's next Tuesday the 2nd in Reading, and then Tuesday the 22nd in Oaks from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then we do have a second drop-off, so if you missed anything and you wish to drop off during our second chance drop-off, you certainly can, and that is on Thursday night in Reading from 8 to 9, and on Friday night in Oaks, also from 8 to 9. We just do not accept clothing or shoes at the second drop-off. So it's anything that does not need to be inspected will be accepted at the second chance drop-off. I realize this is impossible to read, but this is the floor plan. This actually is the plan for Reading, and then this is the plan for Oaks. This is on the website. You can download it. But what I did this summer, this was my big summer project, was each of these are numbered. So this says, imagine if you can see it says section 1. This is section 2, and it goes all the way to section 16. And then, so section 1 is boys' toys, and then there's a whole list of all the different boys' toys. And so this is brand new so that you can know there's going to be a big table number for each section. So just imagine like the aisle of the grocery store. You want to go to the bread aisle. And so this will help you to be able to put your items out onto the floor. So it's a good idea to download a copy of this, and you can find this. I actually have a link to it on our homepage of the website. It's on the sell page. I emailed it out to all of our Reading consigners today, so there's lots of different places where you can have access to this. But familiarize yourself with the floor plan because it'll save you time and it'll save you steps. Things are going to be very clearly marked with signage, but this can be helpful as well. As I said, you do get to shop the pre-sales early. I'm not going to waste your time this evening going over this, but you can find this list on our website, and you'll get your passes at drop-off. And then we do also have a 50% off pre-sale. Unlike the regular pre-sale where we don't allow children under the age of 12 unless it's a nursing infant who can be carried on mom or dad. For the 50% off pre-sale, kids are totally welcome, and you can bring 2 friends and not just 1 friend. And you'll get the friend passes as well as your passes at drop-off. Okay, finally, pickup. If you do choose to pick up your unsold items, they will be sorted by consignor number, so you don't need to look for your own items. That will all be done. We have a huge crew of people, volunteers, who come in and sort. If you're a power consignor with over 300 items, we do ask for help with sorting, and all that is explained on the website. A friend can pick up for you as long as they know your consignor number and they bring ID. Pickup is very painless and easy. I said drop-off can take up to an hour. Pickup should take no more than a half an hour. Sometimes it takes a lot less time than that. The biggest part of pickup is getting everybody into the building because everybody comes at the same time. So that's the biggest hiccup that we have, but it's very quick. And likewise, your children are welcome to come to pick up with you. The only really rule we have with pickup is we don't allow for early pickup or late pickup because the early side, we might not be done sorting. If we are done sorting, we will post that on Facebook. So if you're not our friend on Facebook, we're at JBF Philly. Please do become our friend because the minute we're done, we post it because we want you to be able to come and pick up your items, and that also alleviates some of the crowds when people can come at a little more staggered pace. And then at the conclusion of pickup is when our charity partners come. And so even if your tags weren't marked for donate, if you're unable to pick up your items or you forget to pick up your items, we do donate them because we don't leave the building with anything that does not belong to us. Our pickup for Reading is on Sunday, September 7th from 5 to 7, and on Monday, September 29th in Oaks from 5 to 8. And then finally, the best way to help yourself to sell your items is to tell everybody you know about the JBF sale. Tell your friends about it, share it on Facebook. We do have these referral cards, which you can request. I can send you a link. It was in a couple of our recent newsletters. We actually mail them to you, or you can pick them up at drop-off since we're so close to the Reading sale if you're participating in Reading, where if you write your consignor number here and then give this to a friend and they write their number here, you can earn more on your sold items. We pick random winners every day that get 75% of their sold price. We waive the $10 fee and send you a $25 gift card to Target, and then your friend wins $25 to spend at the sale. So that's how our sale has really grown, is by people sharing information about JBF with friends, family, coworkers, and really being enthusiastic about the sale is what has made it so special. So pick up some of those if you don't already have some. So that is it. Here is my contact information, and feel free to email me, call me, text me, whatever, with any questions that you may have. I'm always available. I try as hard as possible to get back to you as quickly as possible. You'll see next week my response time is a little bit slowed because I'm setting up the sale or doing whatever, but it's really my pleasure to help you. And there's, as I said in the very beginning, there's lots of steps involved in this process, so don't get frustrated. Don't allow yourself to waste a lot of time or effort getting upset at your computer or the system. I can pretty much walk you through anything, and if I don't know the answer, I always know where to go to look for it. So please use me because I'm happy to help. So do you guys have any questions? No? All right. Well, I will stay on the line. I will stop recording.